I'm one of 9 children. Two big brothers died before I was born. Because, in those days, there was a high infant mortality. And so I'm third from the bottom. My mother was a picture bride. And the bachelors came as relatively young men, although I think my dad was a little bit older. And they thought that the streets were made of gold and they would just scoop up the gold and go right back. But of course that wasn't reality. And so as they stayed longer and they didn't get their streets of gold, they sent for picture brides. And these were women that they didn't know at all. So that was all arranged by families. And I remember my mother saying, I would never do to my kids what my mother did to me. She had to wake up at 5:30 after her wedding and had to go work in the fields with her new husband. So that was her introduction to marriage and to life in America. My earliest recollection was that, we grew up on a farm. My father was a tenant farmer. And I remember that there was a big barn in front of our house. And actually, one of our house did I think probably my dad must have had a big part in building the house. Well, it was all wood, and it was in the country, right where my father was farming, and it burned right to the ground. I remember that I was looking at it on the telephone pole, and these young guys were going by in the car, and they yelled out, "Read it good, Jap!" And I remember thinking to myself, they weren't even grammatical. They should have said, "Read it well." So I was a stickler, just even then at age 13. We just had a few days to get ready. So there was great big losses. Now the evacuation happened, the war was in December of 41, and we were evacuated in May. And my father at that time was growing strawberries. And so that was just before harvest, the spring harvest. So my dad got nothing. He just lost his whole year's savings. We were in San Fran for about 5 months, and then we went to Topaz by train with all the windows all shuttered, so we couldn't see anything going on. And then after we moved, I remember it was quite a long train ride. And when we got there, I just remember that just swirls of dust because Topaz was in the desert. And Isami had gone on ahead to help build the barracks. And I just you just stepped on that dust, and a cloud of dust would come up as you stepped on it. And so there were tar-papered barracks, and our family's address was 12-5 C and D, and so we had the inside 2 apartments because we're a large family. And I was very active in school government. And I made lifelong friends at camp. I mean, to this day, they're my good friends. We had a lot of fun because, we were kids.
I have received this afternoon a message from the Japanese government in reply to the message forwarded to that government by the
An unjust thing. We were deprived of all our civil rights without due process of law. So it was really constitutional. They broke the Constitution. It was unconstitutional what they did.